Hello, good evening. The army was overstretched and almost seized up, according to the former Chief of the General Staff at the Iraq inquiry today. General Sir Richard Dannatt was talking about a critical time in 2006 when thousands of extra troops were committed to Afghanistan at the same time as Iraq. His evidence came shortly before more grim revelations by his predecessor, General Sir Mike Jackson. He said he'd given a stark warning about Britain's helicopter fleet back in 2005. Forces News reporter James Hurst has been following the inquiry.
They were the two men who led the army through the 6 years of British operations in Iraq. To date, they gave their versions of how they did that to the inquiry that's investigating the war. General Sir Mike Jackson became Chief of the General Staff just a few weeks before the invasion. Before he'd even sat down in the inquiry room, some of his notes of visits to Iraq had just been declassified, including a warning back in 2005 that Britain didn't have enough helicopters. He wrote, "Our support helicopter fleet is creaking badly." He told the inquiry that's because it was designed for the Northern Ireland era.
We were not able to match that level of dedicated helicopter support in Iraq. The force larger, to certainly start with, the area much larger.
General Jackson's successor, General Sir Richard Dannatt, told the inquiry that equipment had been transformed during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. He praised many of the new heavy armoured vehicles, but said Britain had fallen short by not replacing the controversial Snatch Land Rover. He placed the blame squarely with the Ministry of Defence.
I think it was a deficiency in leadership and energy in solving this problem. It would be trite if I said I had a full head of hair in 2005, but really frustrating not to be able to get on with this. And the fact we still haven't closed with the issue in 2010.
General Dannatt also said the army had almost seized up by increasing forces in Afghanistan in 2006, while still heavily committed in Iraq. He said things had been going better in Iraq back in 2004, when the extra commitment to Afghanistan was agreed, and he suggested it should perhaps have been rethought closer to the time.
I could have played a part in saying, I think we should revisit it. I didn't say we should revisit it. One accepted it as a policy decision, and we got on with it. Maybe that was an error.
General Jackson, though, insisted they had not overcommitted on the two campaigns, and that rolling back on the Afghan boost had never been an option.
I think the view was we could not suddenly put up our hand and say we can't do this in Afghanistan, because it was not just a matter for us. It would have been, the whole NATO efforts in that country.
Both generals were outspoken in office. Their differences with the government were already pretty well known. Today's hearings have revealed perhaps some differences in their own styles. James Hurst, Forces News.